This is my cheap Honda Vision. And this is a £2,000 race engine from AliExpress. Because if there's one place known for elite race-tuned engines, this is the last place you'd look. But the thing is, they take scooter racing very seriously in some parts of Asia. These guys don't mess about, unlike me, who just spent £2,000 on a mystery engine online. This Honda Vision is worth less than a decent night out, and somehow I thought strapping a £2,000 race engine into it from AliExpress was a good idea. And so, will this be the funniest upgrade ever, or will it explode as soon as I start it? On paper, this should make my Honda Vision ridiculously fast, replacing the standard 50cc lump with what is an expertly tuned 125cc monster. However, AliExpress doesn't exactly scream reliability, and what makes this even more amusing is the fact that this Honda Vision is stolen recovered. A perfect candidate for a £2,000 race engine, obviously. I bought it for £160, and in order to start it, I need to hotwire it. The next time we ride this little Honda Vision, it's going to be 10 times faster. Now, because this Honda Vision was stolen, recovered, there's damage absolutely everywhere. I mean, yeah, where is there not a piece of damage? Cracked fairing, scuffs here, broken lights. If I had to guess, this thing was probably trying to evade the police. Which brings me onto today's sponsor, Bikesure. Whether your bike is stolen, brand new, or maybe it's held together with zip ties, you need proper insurance. Bikesure has regularly covered bikes that feature on this channel. That's because Bikesure specialises in insuring all sorts. Custom builds, daily commuters, even questionable projects like this one. They don't judge, which is perfect for me. Bikesure can tailor a policy that fits you and your ride, no matter how weird and wonderful it is. To make sure that you are protected against, say, having your bike being stolen, then I highly recommend you give Bikesure a call to see what they can do for you. Thank you, Bikesure. So, before we go ahead and 10 times the power of this little Honda Vision, I don't fancy riding it until we've made sure that it's safe, that it's sound. So let's get to work. This Honda Vision has had a life. I like to imagine it was originally owned by someone's nan, used once a week to nip down to the shops for milk, cat food, maybe a scratch card, then one day, gone, stolen, whisked off into a life of crime, backfires and wheelies in Tesco car parks. And now, well, now it's here, on the bench with me. We are stripping it down completely, basically removing everything that makes it a moped. It's like peeling back the layers of a bad decision, except there's no prize in the middle, just more bad decisions. And there we go, Honda Vision stripped down. One thing I'm a little bit concerned about, because we are going to be massively increasing the horsepower of this Honda Vision, we have drum brakes on the front wheel. Speaking of the front wheel, 10-inch rim, and yeah, quite a nasty buckle. This was held into the frame by essentially one bolt through the shock and another bolt through the swing arm. The exhaust, the carb, you name it, that's what propels this Honda Vision. Look at this damage. Yeah, not great. And as for the frame, I've gone around, I've cleaned it all up. I've made sure there's no cracks, no bends. I'm thinking maybe we should make it a sleeper. Make it look standard apart from the engine. So here it is, the skeleton of what was once a £160 stolen recovered moped, and the foundation for something completely unnecessary, but hopefully brilliant. And also what I need to do now is make a list of all of the parts that I need to replace. There's quite a lot of broken plastics, which is quite a shame. And yeah, just basically make this Honda Vision ready to accept that £2,000 race engine from AliExpress. But honestly, this Honda Vision, compared to what I'm used to working on, this is a dream to work on. It's so easy. Anyway, I'm going to get to work on sorting those bits. With a stack of second-hand fairings in highly questionable condition, I set about prepping them for paint. They'd clearly seen better days, cracked, scratched, sun faded, and possibly dropped more times than I care to think about. This part of the process is all about patience, and if you don't have any, well, it's all about learning patience the hard way. You sand, you check, you sand again, then you realise it somehow looks worse than when you started, so you sand some more, but eventually, if you're persistent and just too stubborn to stop, things start to take shape. Now normally if you've got a buckled wheel, you replace it, but I actually couldn't find any, so naturally I decided to fix them myself with some questionable tools and even more questionable logic. Spray painting completed, and we've got this beautiful baby blue finish. Now I'm not happy about the finish. It's okay, it'll do for now. We've also got gloss white indicator surrounds, skirts that run underneath the bike. I've gone and given the plastics a nice light grey coat and they look like new. Really impressed with that. Really impressed. Now the next thing to do is to do the exciting part and install the race engine. Let's do it. And here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for. The £2,000 AliExpress race engine is going in. It's a plug and play setup, which on paper saves a ton of time. But as with anything that claims to be plug and play, there's always a bit of fiddling, a bit of trimming, and a lot of hoping it actually lines up. Still, there's something both deeply satisfying and slightly terrifying about bolting in an engine that's wildly overpowered for such a lightweight machine. You can feel the potential just sitting there, like it knows it doesn't belong, but it's going to give it everything anyway. And once it's mounted, everything suddenly feels a little bit more serious, like this thing might actually work. Or it might explode. Either way, it's going to be entertaining. So the 125cc lump is in the frame, and I don't know if it's going to be a sleeper anymore because look at the state of that exhaust. It's humongous. I also am a little bit concerned when we put the fairing on that this exhaust might catch. We're also very close to starting this Honda Vision. All we need to do now is install the front wheel, install the fairing, and we can go for a first start. So let's get it all back together. With the engine bolted in, it was time for the final piece of the puzzle, the fairings. These battered old panels with their questionable paint job are finally going back where they belong. This is a point where it stops looking like a scrapyard experiment and starts to resemble an actual bike again. It's all coming together. Sketchy plastics, fresh paint, and a race engine from the internet. There isn't much to this Honda Vision. It's lightweight, minimal, basic, which is slightly concerning given the massive boost in power we have just given it. Alright, so what do you think so far then? It's kind of a old man slash 50s look, which is something I was trying to achieve. I want this to be a sleeper, even though the exhaust is humongous. Before I go ahead and complete this Honda Vision, I want to go for a first start. Yes, I want to see if it fires up, because what's the point of putting it all back together again and then discovering that it's not, well, it's not working. All I need to do is connect those cables up. I've got a key and a barrel so we can turn the ignition on, put a battery on the bike. Another thing to note is, yeah, it's a bit close, as well as this air filter, so I'm going to have to adjust this air filter. But if this exhaust system is going to catch, maybe I'll need to get to cutting away some of the plastic. With a fresh battery installed and wired in, everything was ready. I poured in a rich 40:1 premix, plenty enough oil to keep things safe, and just enough fuel to see what this thing can do. Alright, so we've got the battery plugged in, we've got some fuel, premix, ignition is on. That suggests we've got some power. Do you feel confident that it's going to start? Damn it, the battery's a little bit flat. We're getting close now. Everything is ready except the battery. Second attempt, and let's hope that it starts. Let's go, baby. Now I've discovered a little issue, and that is with the fuel tap. Now the fuel tap is vacuum fed. This is the vacuum fed pipe, and basically when I suck on it, I can physically see with my own eyeballs fuel running down the clear visible line into the fuel input on the carb. Yeah, I can nurse it into life by sucking on this pipe. Oh my God! Did you hear it? That sounded so loud. Oh, I'm scared. Let's go again. It's gonna fire, isn't it? Alright, so I had to drop the camera and turn it off because it wasn't, I turned the ignition off, but it carried on firing. So I think I've got a dodgy ignition, but I panicked. Doesn't it sound absolutely incredible? It runs! It runs! I can smell the two-stroke, so that's a good smell. A good smell indeed. Check out the Honda Vision. What a transformation. Wouldn't you say so? Wouldn't you say so? Look at it. So cool. Now, it's not showroom condition, but it's good enough for me. We just want to find out if that £2,000 race engine is worth the money. Is it going to blow up? We shall find out, because I'm going to take it for a little test ride. Also, I've had to hotwire it because the key and barrel, the one that I purchased, was obviously cheap. It doesn't work. For whatever reason, it worked for about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna have to source another one. So we still have this bike hot wired, and I know the ignition's on because the horn's working. Let me catch a breath. I'm too excited. Bit awkward to get to the choke on this. It's right, like, it's pretty difficult, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get on it. I know where it is. Right. There we go. Choke's on. It would help if the HT cap was on the spark plug. It was how I cut it out when we first started in the workshop. I have to rip the HT cap off the spark plug to cut the engine out. The other thing to note as well, everything's a tight squeeze. Okay, let's go again. Hello? Try the kickstart. That hurt. That's the way to cut it out. You've got to pull the HT cap off. Don't try that at home. Now all we need to do is get it MOT'd. We need to obviously run it in, and then we're going to do some kind of challenge with it. I don't know what I'm going to do just yet, but we'll have to stay tuned to find out, well, what we put it through. Maybe I'll take it on a long journey. The most important thing now though is to run it in. I need to put at least 50 miles on it, and then I can start racing it about. Will it last 50 miles? We don't know yet. So you'd have to subscribe, Stay tuned and find out in the next upload. See you later.